In 1909, he filed for the Grand
Wow.
Canyon to become a national park off limits for mining and all this other stuff. It took 11 years for it to get done. G.E. Kincaid wanted to go check it out before it became a federal park because he was looking for gold. He wasn't down there looking for something for the Smithsonian. He was trying to get rich.
Right.
So he wanted to get in before it became off limits to do mining project there. So those are the dates
Right.
to come with
Okay.
it. And so, fam, here's another one. Here's another Ancient Enigma Files tip for life. When you're in
Yeah.
an area and you're being told a bunch of lies and you're being fed information, seek out the Native American lore. It will tell you the truth, right? And boy, I'm about to tell you something, Jay, and all of
Okay.
our millions of listeners watching at home. This sounds familiar. In that area, is several different types of Native Americans, right? You have the Apache. I think there was a couple other ones there, Pueblo, but the main one for this area was the Hopi. The Hopi tribes were down there, right? So they were within miles of this location. The Hopi have a story, and this story says that in their creation mythos, they say that the first human or the first life, the first people of this world entered the world from that cave. They emerged as reptilians and then changed into humans, right? And that leads a lot of people into the whole reptilian, hollow earth theory or whatever. They said that they were warned of a cataclysm, for lack of a better word, that was about to happen from a sky god who came out of a silver star, told them to go into these caves, and in the caves were living what they call the ant people. The ant people had gray skin and big black eyes, right? And they lived the Hopi people went into that cave, lived in that cave until after the flood had ended. And by the way, scientists are now finally having to eat crow that the earth did not thaw out after the flood in the Younger Dryas in 100 years. It did it in 2 days. 2 days is what happened, right? And then after the flood, they say that these giants came down from the sky and taught the Hopi Indians and the people how to, read and write.
New stuff.
Right? New stuff, right? And man, oh man, is that not the last chapter in the Sumerian text, the Anunnaki Sumerian text?
The Book of Giants.
Book of Giants, Jay.
Bhagavad
Book
Gita.
Book of Enoch.
Yeah, I mean,
all used to be in the
we've
Bible.
heard that. It seems like a familiar story, right?
Seems like a familiar story, right?
Yeah, that's what fascinates me about all this stuff, right? Is now we have the technology to be able to communicate all this stuff to each other, right? Like, this is the first time in history we've been able to communicate it, like, in the nature that we've been able to, where we can just kind of throw it out there and be like, hey, tell me about the first people and the ant people. And then all of a sudden you've got, right? It's neat.
Yeah.
Right? It's first time.
And
so now we're going to be able to make all these connections that we weren't able to make before.
If I told you if I told you it gets weirder, would you believe me?
Absolutely, because I'm reading it right now, and it's pretty weird.
It gets weirder. So, the Smithsonian not only concreted some stuff over, confiscated everything, denied everything. You can call the Smithsonian and ask them about this, and they'll tell you it's fake news. You can call them. I'm halfway tempted to put the number in the thing. You can call these people, and they will say, "Oh yeah, there was never a man named G.E. Kincaid. There's never was a professor named S.A. Jordan who worked here, right? Even though if you go back to the 1910, 1911, I forget the dates, they're in the news. The articles are there, right? So, local news. And then the Smithsonian went around in all the areas, Jay, and they started putting metal gates
Look
on
over
over these cave. They found 100 cave entrances, which I think is fascinating. They put these metal gates, and these ain't little bitty rebar gates. These are the keep the giants out gate. You know, like we're talking
or in.
I didn't even think about it like that, right? We're talking Jon Snow
Well,
and the Wall Boys up there, right? Locking them down.
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
These are big, heavy gates, and their excuse was,
Are they wrought iron?
yeah, they're big black wrought iron solid gates, and they
What
are embedded in the stone.
What is wrought iron good and proof against? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You should. Here's where you go in and maybe do a little alchemy research.
Yeah.
Because see, depending on what metals things are made out of, that could have some significance. I love some symbology, whatever you want to call it.
Gates are impressive.
Yeah, because think about it, right? So I pulled up the information on the Ant People and the Hopi legends, right?
Run it down.
And it's really interesting. Yeah, so like the Ant People welcomed the first people into their subterranean realm, offering them shelter, sustenance, and guidance. They taught the Hopi the ways of agriculture, weaving, and pottery, imparting the skills and knowledge that would help them survive the world above.
That is crazy.
And they came out of the underground. The underground, let me find that spot.
The cave system.
The tale begins in the distant past, long before the first people ascended to the present world.
Yeah.
In those days, the Hopi ancestors lived in a series of underground chambers, each filled with danger and challenges. So they made their way out of what they're calling the first world.
I gotta
the other world.
And hear me out on this. Hear me out on this, right? What if I'm going Alice?
Oh, dude, I got a singer for you when you're finished.
Alice, take the blue pill, right? So look,
right.
What if all Native Americans were originally inner Earth inhabitants, and when they say they went to the next realm, they actually came out of the inner Earth onto the current Earth, and they were considered to be the first people?
Or portals. Because we did see portals. Enoch go to different places.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so how do you get from where this all started to where we're at right now?
Yeah, portals.
And come out of a hole in the ground that seems to have been cut out of this big chamber of rock, right? So what happens when you use a teleportation mechanism? And let's just spitball it here and let's sci-fi it out, right? They zap the cave. They literally whomp and just remove the matter, right? And then they put the people in there, and everybody comes out. It's nice and safe from the flood. And Bob's your uncle. You have Hopi.
Good job, Tim Fuller. You know what? You get a gold star for that, man. You know what?
Hey, man, I've had this theory for a long time, dude. We're a giant petri dish, bro.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.